Hey everybody, this is Eric with Low VA Rates again on a Friday. How do we know it's Friday? Well, everyone knows when it's Friday. I was actually driving my kids to school this morning. I'm part of a carpool. We dads taking the kids to school in the morning. And I said TGIF, and none of the kids knew what that was. So I got to explain to them what it means. TGIF, thank goodness, it's Friday, and it's TGIRF. Thank goodness it's Red Friday. We wear red here at Low VA Rates like we do every Friday, like this shirt says, because we want to remember everyone deployed. So, thank you for your service. If you're not in the military, but you love and support the military like I do, then wear red. It's an outward expression of how you probably feel inward, and we thank you for doing that. Today we're going to talk about VA loan foreclosure. Now, this isn't something fun to talk about, but it is a topic that's searched relatively often on the internet. And look, some economic news came out this morning. The economy is on fire. Job growth is still going very, very well. Wages are finally catching up. And, that's both good and bad. It's good because the economy is doing well, which means very few people are facing foreclosure today like they were during the housing collapse when the economy was going down the tubes. But it also means the Fed is going to likely continue to raise interest rates. Interest rates will continue to rise over the next year or two. So look, if you're thinking about buying a home, give us a call. Now is a great time to buy a home and get a mortgage at a rate still down below the 5.5% to 6% range. And we could certainly be crossing those numbers very soon if the economy continues to do as well as it is. So why are we talking about loan foreclosures, specifically VA foreclosures, if the economy is doing so well? Because it's important that you understand, number one, how to avoid foreclosure, and the VA and your VA home loan benefits can certainly help that in the event that you do fall on hard times. And look, the reality is not everything's, how they say it, rainbows and roses, or however that goes. We got to talk about hard things from time to time. So if you or someone you know is facing foreclosure and they have a VA loan, listen up. We're going to talk about what you can do, and we're also going to talk about whether or not you can buy a foreclosed loan with a VA loan. We're going to just kind of talk about a few things today as it pertains to VA foreclosure. Start thinking about your questions now, because I love the live interaction when we're lucky enough to get it. So let's, in no particular order, number one, can you buy a foreclosed property with your VA home loan benefits? And the answer is yes. Okay, you can buy a foreclosed property. Now, you got to keep in mind one thing. A lot of times when a home has been foreclosed upon, the prior owner got really ticked off along the way and got mad maybe at the bank or mad at life in general. Not always, but you see a lot of times debilitated, is that the word I'm looking for? You beat down properties. A lot of times when a property gets foreclosed on, in most states there's laws that make it difficult for banks to foreclose quickly, so you might have people that live in the home without making payments for an extended period of time. Utilities get shut off. They rip out, appliances. Again, not always, but what we have found, if you're going to try to buy a foreclosed property, because you can get those at a pretty steep discount, just keep in mind if you're using your VA loan benefits to do that, the property must still be in the appropriate condition to meet VA property requirements. And we've talked about that. You can search our YouTube channel for videos on minimum property requirements. But yes, you can. Where do you go if you want a list of VA foreclosures? Well, sometimes the VA, if a veteran gets into trouble and has to walk away from their house, the VA has the ability to just make the lender whole and take ownership of that home. And these are called VA REOs, real estate owned. The VA actually owns the real estate, or VA foreclosures. And here's the deal. The VA can't manage their foreclosures. They can't go list them. They can't do all the negotiations. So they use a company called Ocwen Federal Bank. That is a bank. I believe they're an East Coast bank. The VA, if you go to Ocwen Federal Bank, go to their website, you can find on there a list of VA foreclosures, or you can simply talk to one of your real estate agents, and we can help put you in contact with a real estate agent if you'd like. All good real estate agents know how to go and access a list of properties that the VA has foreclosed on. I shouldn't say the VA has foreclosed on, that a lender has foreclosed on, and then the VA has taken ownership of those properties. Why would you want to buy a foreclosed property off of the VA? Well, because the VA is going to do a good job of keeping that property up to standard, and most foreclosures are sold at a pretty steep discount, okay? So, finally, we've talked about, yes, you can buy a foreclosed property. You can get a list of VA foreclosures from the VA. Listen, if you find yourself possibly approaching foreclosure, you need to do everything you possibly can to avoid foreclosure. If you're a veteran and your home gets foreclosed on, it will destroy your credit, okay? So it is a big, bad no-no to your FICO or to your credit, and that's going to make getting future homes more difficult. Look, sometimes it happens. We understand that. And we're going to talk about here at the end what you can do if there's nothing else for you to do other than get your property foreclosed on. But you want to avoid foreclosure at all costs. The VA has credit counselors at each regional VA loan center. You can call up and you can talk to a counselor who will help you. Look, the VA cannot step in and tell the lender not to foreclose. It's the lender's decision. And no lender wants to foreclose. So the very, very first step, before you even worry about calling up a VA counselor, you should contact your mortgage servicer. So whoever you're making mortgage payments to, or whoever you were making mortgage payments to before you started defaulting, call them up. We are nice people, lenders. Now, we don't service loans here at low VA rates, but lenders don't want to foreclose. They will work with you, and they can do payment plans. They can forgive payments and tack them on to the end of your loan. They can do modifications. There's all sorts of things that lenders are going to do with you if you're open, transparent, and honest with them. Now, if you're not and you just stop making payments and think somehow you're going to avoid foreclosure, you will not. If your lender won't work with you or you feel like you're not getting anywhere with your lender, then step 2 would be to call the regional loan center. You can go to Google and just type in VA Regional Loan Centers. There's a map. You click the state you live in, call up and get a hold of a financial counselor. They will give you different tools and suggestions on what you might be able to do to better negotiate with your lender. Okay? You can also go to benefits.va.gov. You can search around there for other tools. That's really all I got today. I try to keep these videos under 5 minutes, and I think maybe we're going past that. Are there questions? No questions yet. So in closing, unless I get a question answer at the end, summarization. You can buy foreclosed properties with a VA loan. The VA has a list of foreclosures that they have taken ownership of, and they are selling at a discount. So that's somewhere to go look if you want to try to buy a foreclosed property that had a VA loan on it. If you do have to go through foreclosure, you want to avoid it at all costs because it will negatively impact your credit and it could potentially hurt your ability to get a VA loan in the future. If we have no questions, that's it. Have a great weekend.